message to New Yorkers. Where you are is not who you are. There is so many better days ahead. But in order to reach those better days, you have to have the right team. And that team can't simply be academically intelligent. They must be emotionally intelligent. I believe in all my heart, EI plus AI equals success. And that is what we have assembled today. The academic credentials of the individuals who are here to become the deputy mayors of the city of New York are representative of what is needed to match their emotional intelligence. We are full with firsts. The first African American and woman to be the police commissioner of the city of New York. The first Latino to run the Department of Corrections. And last week, I announced, in addition to first, but to send the right message, to announce Brendan McGuire and Jocelyn Strauber as our DOI and my counsel, two former prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney's Office, because we are going to ensure that we have transparency and integrity to go together. Now, today, we are appointing here 5 deputy mayors to be part of my team. And anyone that knows me, you know my mama's boy, and I was raised by women. And no one is going to fight harder for the people of this city. The nurturing energy, the compassion, the caring, who they are, is what we all can become in this city. And when I add this group of 5 women with my appointment of my chancellor, who's going to educate our children and give them opportunity, you are just seeing the coming together of an amazing team. And this is going to be my core leadership. And they are going to ensure that we move our city in the right direction. And one of the appointees, 2 of the appointees come from Pacific and South Asian background. The first in the city of New York. The first in the city of New York. And it's one of many. I want to let you get your card. That's, there you go, Dad. See that emotional intelligence love back there? And with us, we're joined by 5 pop pioneers. These women here, they purchased the sledgehammer that they're carrying to break the glass ceiling. These are an amazing group of women here, just real fighters. We all know what Christine Quinn has done and continue to do with the WIN nonprofit, and how she is creating a level of decency to those who have fallen on hard times. And we will be partnering with you as we deal with our real homeless crisis. And we know Liz Holtzman. Many of you don't know, but I was a clerk in her office when she was the district attorney in the county of Kings. An amazing congresswoman, an amazing district attorney, and just a real pioneer. Ruth Messenger. We know she should have won that mayor's race. Betsy Gotbaum, a prestigious career. Her family name means so much. And now, really the social and moral and political conscience of our city. And the woman who nurtured me in the state Senate, she used to call me Senator Popo. Senator Velmanette Montgomery. These women I adore so much. We are a better city because of their presence and we're going to move into a better place because of the presence of our new deputy mayors. So to introduce our city's first deputy mayor, I am honored to welcome a public servant who has served our city in so many ways. She was the first woman commissioner of the Parks Department, the first woman elected to be our city's public advocate. She now serves as executive director of Citizens Union. Please welcome Betsy Gotbaum.
Good morning, and thank you, Mayor-elect, or Mr. Mayor. It's very, very wonderful to be here, but sitting in the room that we were just in, all these amazing women, all surrounded by pictures of men. Eric. Anyway, it gives me great pleasure to introduce someone who is a spectacular, very emotionally intelligent woman, but very brilliant, who's had a wonderful career in the city. My friend, my colleague, Lorraine, Grillo, and wait, one thing though, every woman has a great man behind her. And there he is, Steve Aiello. Lorraine? Excuse me.
Thank you so much, Betsy. It is such an honor to have you introduce me and to see all of these trailblazing women. Thank you for being here. It's really, really important to us. So I'd really like to thank Mayor-elect Adams for his trust and his confidence in me to give me this position, and I am so honored to be working for him and for the people of the city of New York. I'm thrilled to be working alongside of these exceptional women who are sitting here today. Each and every one of them are incredibly gifted and smart and dynamic, and we will work really hard together to implement Mayor-elect Adams' agenda. I've been in government for almost 28 years. I've served in a variety of roles, working for the people of the city. I've loved every minute of it, but the one thing that sealed the deal for me and allowed me to accept this position was when I heard the mayor-elect say he wants a GSD government. Not everybody understood that when he said it, but I will tell you, GSD has been my mantra for 28 years. So I want to thank you. I'm excited, I'm ready to go, and we're going to get this job done. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And depending on what room you're in, the S represents different things. And to introduce our city next deputy mayor of operation, I'm proud to have with us a true trailblazer, a champion for women's rights and LGBTQ rights. She served for 7 years as Speaker of the New York City Council, the first woman and the first openly gay speaker in the city's history. She's now president and CEO of WIN, supporting homeless families across New York City. I'm honored to call up Christine Quinn.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor-elect, and it's going to be very exciting to get to work with you in a new capacity, as we did when you were borough president, and know your commitment to making sure that every New Yorker has a home, particularly children, because it's really hard to learn if you don't have a home of your own. So thank you very, very much, and thank you for demonstrating your intelligence by picking 5 women. Now, somebody's going to ask, isn't this pandering? Really? All he did was go out and find the best, the brightest, the most fun, and the hardest working. Where do you look? You look for the women. It's just a fact. It's not debatable. And I'm so excited to get to introduce the Deputy Mayor for Operations, which, you know, is a critical position. The deputy mayors are really the infrastructure of our government. And under that infrastructure, operations is critical because in my view, it's the way we break down the silos. And it's the way we make agencies, like in my world, homeless services and housing work together because they're clearly related and they don't always do that. And Meera's career shows she knows how to do this because when she was the chief regulator of the for-hire vehicle industry, she not only used the data from big apps to make safety reforms, which is really important from everyone's perspective, but particularly the customer, she also used that data to make changes in pay for the drivers. Now, not everyone who was in that type of TLC capacity would seek to address everyone's needs who is part of the taxi industry, but she did, taxi and for-hire industry, but she did. She's also had important oversight and executive management experience in places that are not difficult for a woman at all. The NYPD and the Department of Corrections. So if anybody thinks she's not going to be able to stare down every commissioner, they're wrong. Also, the only negative about her appointment is it could make President Biden mad. Because we are taking her away as the Deputy Administrator of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, which is really important across the country, but this job is more important. So I am so excited to get to introduce you, but more importantly, so excited to help you step off on this new path of service to New York City and look forward to working with you in every way that I can.
Thank you. To say I'm immensely scared to get before this mic is an understatement. That's honest. Mayor-elect Adams, thank you very much for your hope and belief in me as a person and me as someone who can solve government problems. So thank you very much. Thank you to the women who built the stage on which we stand. Our gratitude is deep and meaningful, and every day we think of you, and we also have all of your phone numbers, hopefully, so we can call you regularly, because those lifelines are tremendously important. And thank you for being able to share the stage with such amazing women who are friends, they're leaders, they're creative, and they're problem solvers. And long ago, someone asked me how to get stuff done, and it was give it to a woman, give it to a busy woman, and give it to a single working mother. And that has actually proven to be true time and time again. But I'm not biased, so I'll continue. I am deeply honored to be selected by Mayor-elect Adams to carry out his mission together to build the heart and soul of New York, its infrastructure and its operations. I'm deeply honored to be selected by Mayor-elect Adams to carry out his clear vision and make it a reality. That's upgrades and improvements which by definition will apply to everybody. We're at a critical juncture. Our city's core infrastructure and operations need to recover from the effects of the pandemic. We need to address the ongoing reality that COVID is still with us, and we must never lose sight of the fact that we are New York City. That means we're a city of constant improvement in the face of adversity, and we're a model for urban centers around the world. So I'm committed to working tirelessly to achieve these goals together and to improve the lives of each and every New Yorker and their children and their children. And now it's time to get stuff done. Before I do that, I do have to give a quick thanks. One, again, to Mayor-elect Adams for the opportunity. To Christine Quinn, thank you for mentioning. To President Biden and Secretary Buttigieg for giving me the opportunity to work in federal transportation and for passing the historic infrastructure law, of which funds will flow to New York City to help support our infrastructure needs in a historic manner. I want to thank my father, Arvind Krishna Joshi, who's not here today, for his tolerance, his creativity, and his mindedness, and my mother for her caring and her diversity. My husband, my anchor, who's in the audience, he's the gift to New York City, a generous soul, and everyone who meets him becomes more generous because they've met him. My sister, who's also here, Shamala, thank you so much for your companionship and friendship. All of our children, none of whom are here, they're busy. They have other stuff to do. They keep it real. And most of all, New York City for giving me this opportunity to serve. Thank you.
And to introduce our city next Deputy Mayor of Economic and Workforce Development, I'm so glad to have with us one of the city's most accomplished elected leaders who represented New York's 16th Congressional District for 4 terms, started in 1972. At 31 years old, she was the youngest woman elected to Congress. She was the first woman to serve as Brooklyn District Attorney, and after that, the first woman to hold the office of New York City Comptroller. We're proud to have with us my good friend, Elizabeth Holtzman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor-elect. I'm very honored to be here, and I'm very surprised and pleased to know that I was smart enough to keep you on my staff when I was district attorney. Who knew? So thank you for that bit of enlightenment. When I ran for district attorney, by the way, people came up to me and said, you know, Liz, we really love you. We voted for you for Congress. We voted for you for Senate, but this is not a job for a woman. And today, Mayor-elect Adams, what you're doing by these appointments is to tell the people of New York City, the people of the country, and the people of the world that everything is a job for a woman, and a woman can do every job. And by doing this, you also give hope to everybody who's been a victim of discrimination that they can make it as well. So I say on behalf of all of us, thank you for this great gesture that you've made and these appointments. I'm very honored today to announce and introduce Meera Torres-Springer, who's going to be dealing with one of the most critical problems that the city has, which is jobs and jobs and jobs. And in partnership with the mayor, we know she'll do an excellent job. She's had enormous experience in the area of finance and economic development, and domestic policy. She's a vice president for U.S. programs at the Ford Foundation, but she was commissioner of the New York City Department of Housing and Preservation, so she knows about housing and its contribution to economic development. She was the president of the New York City Economic Development Corporation, so she knows about that part of the business, and she was also commissioner of New York City's Department of Small Business Services. That's not the whole resume, but you get the idea that this is a woman with fabulous qualifications dealing with an extremely complex situation, and we're looking forward to having her solve these problems for the people of New York City in partnership with our great new mayor-to-be. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Liz, for that kind introduction and for blazing the trail that so many of us will now be able to take our journey on as we do the work for the great people of the city. I, of course, first want to thank Mayor-elect Eric Adams for entrusting me with this opportunity to serve our great city as the Deputy Mayor for Economic and Workforce Development. This is an appointment that I accept with humility, with an overflowing love for our great city, and really incredible pride that I get to stand here in the company of trailblazing women. That I am standing here today, however, is a testament to the promise that this great city represents. The promise that regardless of where your life story began, You can dream here, you have a home here, you can make a difference here. Now, my life follows the classic beats of the American immigrant story. My mother, Elsa, my father, Manny, God rest their souls, immigrated to this country from the Philippines a year before I was born. They worked multiple jobs, yet struggled to make ends meet. We relied on Section 8 vouchers and food stamps throughout most of my childhood. And I left for college on the East Coast, the first in my family to go to a US university, having never seen snow, and with $200 in my pocket because my family cleared out all of their bank accounts in order to gift that to me and set off on my journey. Now, I share this not because it somehow makes me unique. I share it because my story is not unique. It is the story of many New Yorkers. And as a city of immigrants, we all carry echoes of the choices that led our families to leave their homes and strike out for a better future. My ancestors, like many of yours, were strivers and survivors generation after generation. And so I stand here today because of their strength and resilience. And we have a lot of work to do. Let us make no mistake, the stakes could not be higher. We are inheriting difficult conditions, high unemployment, small businesses at the brink of collapse, labor shortages in key sectors, but we are also inheriting incredible strengths, a diverse economy, a resilient workforce, an enduring spirit of entrepreneurship, a growing population, and the partnership from so many sectors across the city standing ready to work with the mayor-elect, to work with the entire team to get our city going again. And under the mayor-elect's leadership, we have the opportunity to truly accelerate this recovery. And we'll do that by jump-starting small businesses, connecting New Yorkers to family-sustaining jobs, and to ensuring that our diverse neighborhoods are indeed flourishing. And that goal is singular. It's to drive an economic recovery that will make our city more equitable, more prosperous, and more resilient. And I really believe we can do that. We can do that because this city, despite all of the headwinds that we face, we have a boundless capacity for resilience and reinvention. And we really need not look further than the heroism of our frontline workers, the grit of our small business owners, and the tireless efforts of community leaders to see that we are capable as a city of standing and moving forward together. And with Mayor Adams' leadership, we will do just that. So I thank you again for this opportunity. And finally, I do just want to acknowledge my wonderful family who has joined me here today, my extraordinary husband, Jamie, and my wonderful daughters, Leah and Amalia. Amalia's at school, Leah is here. Mom is very, very proud of you, and I hope that you know that everything that I do is to ensure that you are proud of me and this great city that we call home. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Amazing story. And to introduce our next Deputy Mayor of Health, we have a real pioneer and Ruth Messenger. She was the first elected to City Council starting in 1978. And from 1990 to 1998, she served as Manhattan Borough President. In 1997, she was the first city female Democratic mayoral candidate. And from 1998 to 2016, she was President and CEO of American Jewish Rural Services. We are honored to have her here, Ruth Messenger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor-elect. This mayor-elect is taking seriously the responsibility of representing the city in all its diversity. He knows that women hold up half the sky. His appointments today will not only bring intelligence, emotional intelligence, effectiveness, and determination to city government, but they will increase the likelihood that the needs, visions, and perspectives of all New Yorkers will be a central focus of his administration. It is these women who are going to make that happen. They will be there for the women who are prominent among our frontline workers, among our caregivers, among our human service professionals. They will provide access for a multitude of voices driving city policy to the benefit of all of us. And before I introduce Anne, just one request, Mr. Mayor. I want you to talk to the Chancellor-elect and see that there is a picture of you and these 5 women in every school saying, "This is who runs the city of New York." Anne Williams-Isom has an amazing career. And you know, people very often decide, right? You spend some time in city government. Then you go to the not-for-profit sector where maybe you can make more of a difference. And then you breathe a sigh of relief because you've dealt with all of these issues for so long, and you go to teach. But Anne Williams-Isom not only is coming back, she's coming to a universe of work that she knows really well. Now, I told her I had to make one mention of personal privilege. Anne Williams-Isom, who is now a professor at the Graduate School of Social Service at Fordham, is the James R. Dumpson Chair, holds the James R. Dumpson Chair in Child Welfare. And Mr. Mayor, I am so old that my mother and James Dumpson worked together in child care my entire life. So I know knew Jim Dumpson really well. Anne served, before she was at Fordham, she served, as many of you know, as the CEO of the Harlem Children's Zone, a place that proves that integrating services, as Chris Quinn said, and identifying neighborhoods, as we all do every day, and making it clear that services will be delivered works. We need her to bring the model of Harlem Children's Zone to the entire city of New York. But before Anne went to Harlem Children's Zone, she worked, and I was in government long enough that I think I get to say this, in one of the toughest agencies any place in the world, and that is the Administration for Children's Services. She worked there on behalf of all of the children in this city who need our help and attention every day, children that I've heard the mayor-elect talk about on several occasions. And she did something extraordinary at ACS. She ran a leadership training program that taught staff members how to teach frontline staff to do the work. We are so good in this city at finding a disaster and then blaming somebody, usually somebody 5 steps down, for having not done her or his job when we have failed to train them adequately and give them the support they need. Anne Williams-Isom has a career in doing that, and I look forward to her being our deputy mayor.
Ooh, I like the way that sounds, deputy mayor. Thank you so much, Ruth. Oh my goodness, it's so exciting, and I feel so blessed and lucky to have women like you who have been here and paved the path for us. We all stand on your shoulders, and we are so grateful for your service. Thank you, Mayor-elect Adams, for this opportunity to return to public service at this critical time in New York City's history. I'm looking forward to being and bringing the many years of experience to this city and ready to serve side by side with these outstanding women and the rest of the team to execute on your vision of making New York better for all New Yorkers. I would say, as a little girl growing up in Springfield Gardens, Queens, I would never have imagined a moment like that. But that would not exactly be true, because I've always known that if you work hard and are given the opportunity, you could do whatever you put your mind to. My mom is the one who taught me that, not so much in her words, but in her actions, and in her unrelenting focus on providing for my brothers and I as a registered nurse in Queens and as a single mom. She still would tell me to this day that it wasn't easy for her. She came from Trinidad and Tobago, soon became a victim of domestic violence, and was left to raise my brothers and I on her own. So thank you, Mom, today for your love and your sacrifice. And just in case this is being recorded, let me give a shout out to my husband of 30 years, Phil Isom, for hanging with me, Phil and I are both lifelong New Yorkers. He grew up in East Harlem, and we love this city where we've raised our 3 children, Ayana, 28, Philip, 26, and Andy, 19. And with the help of my mother, who is 91 years old now and lives with us, we have been able to really have a happy and healthy life. Today, I stand before you as an example of what happens when you give families the support that they need through their life's ups and downs, without judgment, with compassion, and in the spirit of love. My family got what we needed from our neighbors and our local school and our community, and it helped us to grow to be healthy and happy. Then that became my life's work, a focus on children and families and communities. And I believe that every New Yorker should have the supports that they need. They should be able to have access easily, and those services should be high quality and excellent. And that we should spend time in communities hearing what they need, because guess what? They know what they need. And they know, and if you spend time with them, you will hear it way before it ever gets to City Hall. Mayor-elect Adams said he also wanted me to pay close attention to the special New Yorkers who have dedicated their lives to public service in the agency, whose tireless dedication, without that, none of this would be possible, to ensure that there's a climate of trust and respect. So I look forward to spending time with my brothers and sisters in service at their sites. Listen, we've all been hit hard by this pandemic, and we are all feeling it. But I know that this administration will help us get through. We will heal, and we will heal together. And Mayor-elect Adams and his team will lead the journey into an even stronger New York on the other side. Today, I'm just so honored and proud to be joining this transformative team. Thank you.
You know, during my interview and vetting process, as we spoke, and you shared the story of your husband growing up in public housing and then becoming a prominent attorney. Those are the stories that we're hearing over and over again on what these amazing women are producing for our city. And so the final deputy mayor is going to be introduced by really my mentor and my shero, a city's leader for so many years, and she has represented the 25th State Senatorial District from 1984 to the day I joined the police department until 2020. She chaired the Committee on Children and Families and is a celebrated champion of civil rights. We all knew her up there in Albany, and it's my true pleasure to introduce the Senator Velmanette Montgomery.
I come bearing gifts. And because I spent some time with the mayor before he became borough president and before he became mayor, we were already out there fighting together. So I brought a little token of our friendship. I wanted to remind him and us why we love you so much. We're so happy that we voted for you. And that is because he was cutting ribbons as borough president even before for affordable housing and for projects in schools. I stood with him and many times. So, Mr. Mayor, this is the ribbon cutting. I signed it 3 times. So you don't forget where we came from, where he came from. Thank you. We thank you. And I want to just say, in terms of the women who are coming into power, because you're going to be running our city, I'm so happy that this borough president, now going to be mayor, is from Brooklyn. Politics is always local. So that's one great thing. But he's chosen a path to empower women who are now going to be our leaders along with him. So, and I assure you that he does listen. He does not shy away from having women be in power. Doesn't threaten him, because he used to, I called him Senator Popo, because I always thought he might be carrying. So I would always say to him, that doesn't frighten me, Senator Popo. So I want you to know that even though he was Senator Popo, he does not feel threatened by women being in power. That's what I'm so pleased about. And that the woman that I am introducing is not a foreign person as it relates to her relationship to power and what it means to people. She comes from the not-for-profit organization, United Way of New York, that is one of the premier not-for-profit organizations in our nation. But in addition, and more importantly, it is an organization that lives with a goal of having the collaboration of community and with caring of people that we so desperately need at this time. Now, as a citizen, seeing my streets closed off and seeing the things that my constituents have had to go through, they didn't have a voice. I feel like now we're going to have a voice, and I can reach out to women who will understand what it means to lose a supermarket and to lose a street and to lose a park. I will have some people in power who respect me and who respect my concerns. So Sheena, I am so proud to be able to introduce you. I'm so proud of the fact that you have experience with affordable housing as a leader of the Abyssinian Development Corporation. So you come with what we need at this hour in our city, and that is leadership with compassion. So thank you, Mayor Adams, Mayor Popo, for bringing us the best possible team to represent us in this city at this time. Sheena, congratulations. Congratulations to
Thank you so much, Senator. I'm sure we can't call you Mayor Popo. We're just going to leave that right there. Thank you so much. Oh, you okay? Okay. I am so honored to be here this morning in the company of such incredible trailblazing women. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've just been filled by this testimony and the stories and just being in the presence of these incredible women. And I have to also acknowledge an incredible woman, a trailblazer, my mother, Deborah Fraser Howes, who's here today, as among this illustrious group. And I'm so grateful to be asked to serve by Mayor-elect Eric Adams. I am so excited to join this team because Mayor-elect Adams has set for us a clear mission and vision to make this city work for all New Yorkers, for all of us. Education, Ruth, I think I might be able to tell the Chancellor a little something for you. I'll make sure we get our pictures up. Economic growth and prosperity, public safety, all of these and so many things have not been attainable equitably for all of us, and that is the mission and the goal. I am so committed to this because I am a New Yorker through and through. I know we're in Brooklyn, but I was born and raised in the South Bronx. I live in Harlem, so I have a little borough diversity that I can contribute to this administration. I have gone to school in this city, college and law school, and I've raised my children here. This is my home, and I love it deeply and fully. I have committed 20 years and counting to service to this city, to help it to achieve its promise and potential. New York is gritty, it's challenged, it's not fair, it's not always right, but the promise and potential that it holds, it just amazes me. See, there are too many Sheenas and Anns and Lorraines and Marias and Meeras that do not get the opportunity to fully unleash their promise and potential. They have gifts that are beyond measure, and I hope they can see us today and know what they can achieve and see the women who have come before us, because you've inspired us to know what we can do and what we should do for our city. Thank you. One of the big jobs that I've had over these past couple of months has been chairing the transition. And I'm so proud and pleased by what the transition team has accomplished. They've set accountable, clear goals and strategies, done a deep dive into all of the agencies, and they are absolutely, as Ann said, extremely hardworking, committed people in the city of New York who are gifted and doing their dead-level best, and we're grateful to join them in this work. And the other thing that the Transition Committee has been very focused on are appointments. And look at this incredible group and those that have come before. So congratulations, Transition Team. I have to give you guys a shout out. Hundreds of people have been mobilized in this effort. But what we knew before we started this journey of a transition, and what is so incredibly clear to us, is that we will not be successful, and Mayor-elect has said this over and over and over again. We cannot be successful if we operate in silos. We will only be successful if we are not distracted, if we are focused, and if we are coordinated and aligned. That is what I hope to do to help to serve this city as the Deputy Mayor of Strategic Initiatives, focused on the biggest priority goals that require cross-cutting collaboration and alignment to get them done. That is no easy task, and many of us who have done any amount of work, we know it is difficult to align, to coordinate, to be focused, to be not distracted. But that is going to be the essence of the success of this administration. There is an African proverb that I carry with me. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I have to tell you that I am so excited by how far we can go in this city. You know, there's been so much talk about the struggle and the headwinds and the challenges that face us. But I see tremendous opportunity with this new administration and under the leadership of Mayor-elect Eric Adams. I've been using this term quite a bit. I feel like this is a moonshot moment. That's how far we can go. And under the leadership and vision of Eric Adams, we intend to go further on delivering results for the city of New York than we have ever gone before. I'm ready, and I know these women, we're joined at the hip and at the elbow and everywhere else. We're ready, and I know the city is ready. So let's go. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephanie, why don't we do a, thank you very much. I see another display of emotional intelligence, showing your caring side, which is so kind. Stephanie, so why don't we take a photo with the women before we open to off topics? So we are intentional about doing these groupings because sometimes when you do these appointments, the narrative gets lost. And so we want to live up to our promise and commitment and draw the attention of how intentional we are about empowering women. As the days go on, we're going to show our strength in our Latino representation. We're going to show our strength in our Chinese population and other groups, Caribbean, African Americans. And so it's, people may say you're pandering. No, we are being accurate and intentional about changing the narrative that our city is going to be diverse. Too many talented people have been sitting on the bench, not only physically, but emotionally. If you don't see yourselves in government, you can't aspire to be in government. Now, little girls all over the city are looking to be a police commissioner. They're looking all over the city to be a deputy mayor. When we roll out the other announcements, people are going to be focused on the individuals who are going to be standing with us, and the people of the city will aspire to those heights. They did not have a height to aspire to. As Eric Adams, as their mayor, I'm going to inspire New Yorkers to go to greater heights. That is what this is all about. That's why we are intentional. And throughout this week, you're going to see how we're going to have a diversified administration. I'm really excited about that. Jose?
Mayor-elect, my question is, I'm kind of reminded of something that another famous woman said a long time ago, and that was, I was lucky enough to cover Ann Richards in Texas a long time ago. And she used to say, when the diversity of the people seated at the table of power, the conversation at that table changes. So my question is, how does the conversation here change the things that you're going to emphasize and that the 5 women here are going to emphasize because they are women instead of men?
That is such a great question. If my mother was sitting at the table, there would have been a different conversation about the lack of child care. There would have been a different conversation about how it's important to ensure women had the proper salary, like I did here in Borough Hall, paying women 13% higher than any other city office. I led the city in doing so. And so when you bring these women to the table, you're going to have a well-rounded view of what it's like to be a single mother, what it's like to live in a household with domestic violence, what it's like to be passed over for promotions, although you had all the qualifications. And so as we start to build out our agencies, these women are going to be in charge of those agencies, and they're going to make sure that we have the equitable distribution of resources and services throughout the city. It's going to be a different conversation, and I think you're dead on. Far too often, men have been making decisions that impact women, children, and families. That stops on January 1st.
Good morning. Berenice Gardner from Univision. Congratulations on your winning. Congratulations to all the ladies that I see here. But I had a question. What happened with the Latino community? I don't see nobody here representing us. And
Yep.
we make you be here today.
Thank you. One of the 2 endorsements, I made history last week with the first Latino to be the Commissioner of Department of Correction. And as I stated, throughout the week, we're going to be rolling out the leadership. You're going to see the president of the Latino community in our appointments, our assignments, our commissioners, and the leadership. So all I can say is hold on. You're going to see all of us reflected in this city.
Sígueme grabando.
Thank you. Mayor-elect, I wanted to ask about how you are, what is your vision for how you are announcing the deputy mayors? I know I believe 2 of the positions are new. And so what's your vision for how you're going to structure this part of government? Do you want some of these deputy mayors to oversee specific agencies? And why are you deciding to do it that way? We've seen in the past, some deputy mayors maybe had too much on their plate, not enough on their plate? What is your vision for how the deputy mayors will work in your government?
A great question. And we're going to present the org chart so you will be able to see what agencies are under each deputy mayor. And that's important so you can get the visual. But the reason this has failed in the past is because the lack of teamwork. People operated in the silos. People were territorial. They stated that, don't talk to my agency, here's the agenda that's moving forward. There were different agendas. We were rowing in different places. I told my team and everyone that's part of the team, there's one set of hands on the steering wheel, Eric Adams. Everyone else is a passenger in the car. We're going in the same direction. My mission is clear. That clarity is going to allow the cross-pollination of ideas. This is a team. This is not deputy mayors that are going to be just focused on their agencies. The good ideas are going to be across our entire team. And that is a big difference. Anyone in government would tell you the backbiting, the infighting, the territorial, the operating in silos, that has produced an inferior product. And that is why our taxpayers have been suffering because of that. That is not how we're going to operate. And I'm very clear. If we can't operate as a team, then you can't operate on my team. We're going to be the Team 6 of the Navy SEALs of government in the city.
Hi, good morning and congratulations. I guess this is a question for you, Mayor-elect, and also Deputy Mayor-elect Lorraine Grillo. You were the recovery czar. My question to you is, what would you like to do in the first half of the year, just right off the start? Why is New York City lagging when it comes to jobs recovery compared to the rest of the country? What do we need to do?
Thank you so much for that question. Actually, we've made some real strides, but as far as employment goes, that's the one area that we're really, really struggling with. And that's one of the main reasons why Maria Torres-Springer is going to be really working on that as the first and most important thing. And Maria, do you want to talk a little bit about your agenda?
Thank you, Lorraine. So thank you for the question. It's a really important one. Right now, the city has only recovered about 6 out of the 10 jobs that it lost during the pandemic, and our unemployment rate is double that of the country. And it reflects how many sectors of our economy, from tourism to retail to hospitality, have really been ravaged. But there is good news. There's good news for a number of reasons. One, because our city has had a history of reinvention and resilience. We have the most skilled labor force in this country. We have small businesses that time and time again find a way not just to be anchors in their community, but to really propel the type of job growth that our city needs. And what Mayor-elect Adams has said to all of us is that the work of economic recovery, it's not the work of one deputy mayor or one agency. This has to be a whole of government approach that will include getting New Yorkers back to work, getting New Yorkers back to work, and getting New Yorkers back to work. Across the 5 boroughs, businesses, small and large community business districts to smaller corridors across the city. It really will take a whole of government approach to make sure that those jobs come back, that New Yorkers can attach to those jobs, and that we have the types of neighborhoods that New Yorkers deserve, that are flourishing, that have the art, the retail, the culture that has made us the most dynamic city in the world. And the last thing that I'll say is, it's easy to take for granted, to just continue to say we're the greatest city in the world, and so our recovery is inevitable. That is not true. It is not inevitable unless we have a plan, and the thing that I know is that Mayor-elect Adams has a plan, and now we have a team to make sure that the entirety of government stays focused on it and executes for the people of the city.
Good morning, everybody. Congratulations to Mayor-elect Adams and to all the new deputy folks. My question is very similar to Dave Evans, Mayor-elect Adams. With your unique and diverse choice of these deputy mayors, do you think it will ever forever change the tone of city politics in New York?
I didn't hear that last
Do you think it will
part.
forever change the tone of politics in New York City with the choices of these deputy mayors?
With these deputy mayors?
Yes.
I think politics is going to change in New York because of the mayor. There's never going to be another mayor like me in the city of New York. We are going to tear down barriers. We're going to do things differently. We're going to acknowledge those who have been ignored for so long. The plan is clear, and this team is going to execute the plan. There's a clear vision on how we should be running a city, and we're going to ensure that we execute that plan. People heard my message. It was a clear one. I did not vacillate. I did not change based on the popularity and what people thought was right or wrong. I was consistent in my message. And every one of these deputy mayors and the team, I sit down and I'm clear. Do you buy into the mission? If you buy into the mission, we can execute the mission together. If you don't buy into the mission, then you should not be on this team. We are on the same page. And our mission was created by many of the people who are here today. They helped me shape that mission and get us to where we are. You want to do off topic?
Sure. Good morning, Mayor-elect, and congratulations to all the deputy mayors. Mr. Mayor-elect, as you are preparing to take office, obviously the Omicron variant is surging here in New York City. Once you're mayor, what indicators will you be watching as you determine whether or not more restrictions and potential lockdowns need to be made? And also, any thoughts on potentially changing your inauguration plans to be all outdoors?
Okay, thank you. Indicators to determine the severity of COVID?
And whether or not more restrictions need to be put in place.
Great question. First, this strand, based on the preliminary data that is coming out of South Africa and what we're seeing, this strand is not as harmful as the first wave and the first time COVID hit our shores. What's important to me, hospitalizations and death rates. If we can maintain the proper balance of hospitalization and the proper balance of not having people die from this strand and where we are, that is enough to continue to make sure people take the necessary precautions. And New Yorkers have been amazing. You know, when COVID first came here, there was a lot of trauma, there was a lot of pushback, people did not want to participate. New Yorkers are ready now. When they hear the call, what they need to do, they respond. I'm going to bring clarity to that. I'm going to create a color-coded system so that when you hear the color, like we did with the terrorists, once you hear the color, you know automatically what to do. There's a lack of clarity on what we're doing, and so people are unsure. And then COVID is here. We have to really understand that COVID is part of our new norm, and we can't close down the city every time a new variant comes up. So we need to have the proper balance, vaccinations, booster shots. Those people who are still saying they're unsure if they want to get vaccinated, we're going to encourage them. This is the right thing to do for your family and in your city. When it comes down to our inauguration, I told the team the other day, I don't have to have a big event. I don't have to do anything fancy. I don't need thousands of people. I'm still the mayor. So if we have communicated with the current mayor's team, my team we have been sitting down, going over the numbers, gauging the numbers. If those numbers are at a level that it is not wise to have it, I don't need to have an inauguration. I am fine. I'm ready to get to work. This is just a celebration for the people who have sacrificed so much. This is not for me. I'm ready to go. I don't need anything at all. All I need is to move my mattress to Gracie Mansion, sleep on the floor, and get to work for the people of this city.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.